Hey guys, it's me, Dr. B, or Vanessa. So I am going to be doing a fun video collab today with Briana. Today we've decided that what we want to do is go through our Book of the Month books and see what's on our TBR, so the books that we haven't read yet, and read some of these books. So it's like, hey Briana, I think it'd be really cool if we read a couple of these books together that we both have, and then maybe I can pick out some books for you to read and you can pick out some books for me to read. And all of these books are obviously from Book of the Month. That's kind of the whole point of our collab video. But just to kind of share with people what we're doing, we're going to be reading Book of the Month books that are on our TBR. So these are books that we haven't read yet that we have from Book of the Month that we're looking to read together. So the first one that we're going to be reading together is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. And I originally remember picking this one for Book of the Month, my Book of the Month box back last August of 2022, because it had the name Daisy in it and my dog's name is Daisy. So that's book number one. And the second book that we are going to be reading together is When We Were Bright and Beautiful by Jillian Medoff. And I have no idea what this one is about, but it looks like I also got this one in my August 2022 box. So I am super excited to read both of these books with you. And now let's see what Briana has picked out for me.
Hey everyone, this is Briana from the channel Books Coffee Homeschool. I am so excited to be collabing with Vanessa on this TBR challenge. I cannot wait to see what book she picks for me. I can't wait to see what she thinks of the picks that I'm choosing for her. And I can't wait to get some Book of the Month knocked off of my TBR. So the first book that I chose for you, I did read last year and I loved it. It was one of my favorite thrillers. It's The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. It is about two women, Meg, who is a con artist, and Kat, whose life was upended by Meg about 10 years ago. They end up meeting again, and it turns out Meg may not be who Kat thought she was. And it's a very women empowering book and I loved it. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts on it. The second book is The Stardust Thief. I have not read that book yet, but I see it everywhere. I'm very, very, very curious about it. And I love fantasy, so I wanted you to read a fantasy. So hopefully you love both of those books. Hopefully you get some of these Book of the Months knocked off your TBR as well. And like I said, I can't wait to see what you picked for me and also do the two buddy reads that we have planned. I'm really excited. So thanks again for doing this collab with me.
Not only are we reading these two books together, but it looks like Briana has also picked out The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. That's exciting. She also picked out The Stardust Thief for me by Chelsea Abdullah. And I remember getting this book from a little free library, so that'll be exciting to read. So I have 3 mystery thrillers and 1 fantasy. Briana sent me a picture of all of the books that she currently has on her shelf that are Book of the Month books. And out of the ones that I saw on her shelf, I was most gravitated towards 2 in particular because I actually own them as well, but I don't have them in Book of the Month format. But I thought it'd be kind of cool if I read them with you, so just more buddy reading. So ignore the sticker, but the first book is The Heart Principle by Ellen Huang. And I know this is like a series, but I'm excited for you to read this one because it's one that has been on my list. I know it's romance, and that's different from the other 2 books that we have chosen to read together. And I've just heard really, really good things about this one and this author. The second book that I think I want you to read, because I'm going to read it with you, is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. And again, ignore my silly little sticker. So I'm excited to read this one because it's been on my shelf for quite a long time and I want to know what it's about. From the looks of it, it seems like some sort of like wilderness kind of vibe back in the 70s in Alaska. And I'm wondering if it's like a general fiction kind of book, but I have no idea what it's about. But I do think the cover is super pretty, and this will probably get us set up for some really nice fall vibes. Okay, so here's all the books I'm going to be reading on this collab challenge. These two, Briana doesn't know just yet that I'm reading them with her, but we're going to be reading these two together, and then she's picked these two for me to read on my own. So thanks, Briana. I'm excited to read these. So I'm going to start reading Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney, and I don't really know too much about what this book is about. After years of avoiding one another, Daisy Darker's entire family is assembling for Nana's 80th birthday party in Nana's crumbling Gothic house on a tiny tidal island. They're finally back together one last time, and when the tide comes in, they will be cut off from the rest of the world for 8 hours. The family arrives, each of them harboring secrets. Then, at the stroke of midnight, as a storm rages, Nana is found dead. An hour later, the next family member follows. Trapped on an island where someone is killing them one by one, the Darkers must reckon with their present mystery as well as their past secrets before the tide goes out and all is revealed. With a wicked wink to Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, Daisy Darker's unforgettable twists will leave readers reeling. So I'm excited to start this, and I'm actually going to just start reading the first chapter right now. So far, what I know about this book is that we have Daisy, and Daisy has siblings named Rose and Lily, and I love that for themed baby names. The first 5 chapters or so are like the families arriving to the island where they're going to be celebrating their Nana's 80th birthday. So Lily has a 15-year-old daughter named Trixie, and she is super mean to her daughter, and Trixie is apparently like the sweetest girl, and it's always the sweet ones that you gotta like watch out for. So I'm kind of like, Trixie might be suspect number 1. Stuff starts happening after the grandmother dies. This isn't a spoiler, this is like on the synopsis of the book, but basically the Nana dies, and there is like something mysterious left behind, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's like so much drama going on already within this family. So we just got to the part where the second person has died, and it was not who I expected it to be. This story is definitely mysterious and suspenseful, and I'm excited to keep reading. reading Daisy Darker, and I'm halfway through the book, and I'm starting to think, like, okay, so initially I was like, oh, it's always the sweet ones that you least expect, and jokingly said Trixie, but I didn't actually think it was Trixie. But because the book is from the perspective of Daisy Darker, I'm starting to think it might actually be her. Like, sounds like the grandchild that visited Nana the most, and the other family members seem very like entitled and only want her money and everything like that. And it's just kind of odd. Like, also nobody is like, Nana just died and then somebody else just died in the family, and it's like nobody's freaking out. Like, I'm sure I would be freaking out. I'd be like, holy crap, what the heck? Like, this is really odd that 2 people died in one night, like on Halloween. Just seems like everyone's kind of like, ooh, let's figure it out, and like, let's not actually have real emotions. But that could just be like they don't really care about their family as much and they care about the money. I just finished Daisy Darker, and this was really good. I gave it 4.5 stars. I felt like I was sort of right in guessing the murderer, but I didn't see the plot twist at the very end. So it was very like interesting to me. I had a good time reading it. It kept me engaged, and this probably is my favorite Alice Feeney book out of the ones that I've read. I've read His and Hers and Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney as well, but this one is 100% my favorite out of the 3 that I've read so far. So now on to the next book. So this is the next book that I am going to be reading with Briana, and I'm excited to see what it's about because I have no idea. Also, I just noticed that these books have very similar back covers. They almost look like they could go together, but one is very much like the rocks and the cliffs from Daisy Darker, and I have no idea what these buildings and stuff are for When We Were Bright and Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to be starting this book next, When We Were Bright and Beautiful, and I don't know what it's about. It says, you can have everything and still not have enough. Casey Quinn may be only 23, but she knows a few things. 1, money can't buy happiness, but it certainly doesn't hurt. 2, family comes first. 3, her younger brother Billy is not a rapist. When Billy, a junior at Princeton, is arrested for assaulting his on-again, off-again girlfriend, Cassie races home to Manhattan to join forces with her parents and older brother. While certain of his innocence, the Quinns know that Billy fits the all-too-familiar sex offender profile: white, athletic, and privileged. That makes headlines and sways juries. So as the clock ticks and the law closes in, the family scrambles to hire the best defense money can buy. Meanwhile, Cassie struggles to understand why Billy's ex would go this far, even if the breakup was painful. She knows better than anyone how the end of first love can destroy someone. Her own years-long affair with a powerful, charismatic man left her shattered, and she's only recently regained her footing. As reporters converge outside their Upper East Side landmark building, the Quinns grid themselves for a media-saturated trial. Cassie vows she'll do whatever it takes to exonerate her brother, but what if that means exposing her own darkest secret? Dazzling and psychologically astute as it rockets towards an explosive ending, When We Were Bright and Beautiful asks, who will pay the price when the truth is revealed? So it sounds like it's going to be some sort of like rich people, family drama, mystery thriller kind of book. So here we go. I'm on chapter 35 of When We Were Bright and Beautiful, and I'm starting to like wonder what the heck is going on, because Cassie has this like relationship with an older man. She has an unusually close relationship with her like adoptive father, Lawrence, and she's always like wanting to not be at home in New York and wants to go back to New Haven, Connecticut, where she goes to school. So I'm like, did something happen to Cassie? And is this older man that she's with like related to the girl who was allegedly sexually assaulted? There's like so much drama going on that I'm like, oh my god. Like Briana said that there's a twist. She finished before me, but she said there's a twist she didn't see coming. Now I'm like, what the heck is it? Like, I'm so curious. I finished When We Were Bright and Beautiful this morning, and I know that Briana had said that there was some like twist and some like turns that kind of went with this, not in a like mystery thriller kind of matter, but more of a, I kind of felt like this was a like general fiction book. I think it's listed as a mystery thriller, but honestly it wasn't like very mysterious or thrilling to me. It revolved around like allegations of sexual assault. Billy allegedly sexually assaulted Diana, and there is a whole court case around this. So it goes from the process of like being accused, figuring out the plan of action from like the lawyer side, going through like how to prepare for the court proceedings and like making yourself appear presentable and all this stuff. Then there's like this whole other story that's going on that you don't find out till maybe the last half of the book, that revolves around the main character Cassie and like how she's involved in all of this, and then how like this whole family, like even though they're trying to stick together on like a united front, like they're really messed up. So I wasn't necessarily shocked reading it and like finding out what happened, but I could definitely understand like how this family got so messed up and how certain things happened. I will say it's very like indicative of how things happen in real life. So that's why I kind of feel like it was a general fiction kind of book. It's based around fictional characters, but the story could have easily been someone's reality. So with that being said, I would definitely say check your trigger warnings and just be aware there's a lot of heavy topics in this book. But I mean, overall, I thought it was pretty well written. Like, the writing was great. Didn't have any problems with understanding and the flow of things. The character development was really good. I feel like it would have been nice to get more of other characters as well, not just the main character. So there was a little bit of like disorganization in some regards. Like, we would be going from, Cassie to the court proceeding, and it was all revolved around Cassie, but it's like, but Billy and Diana are the ones that are on trial. Like, well, Billy's the one on trial here. So overall, it was a good book. Probably more on like the 3-star side for me, maybe like a 3.5. It wasn't like mysterious or thrilling like I thought it was gonna be. Okay, so it says the genre is fiction, thriller, mystery, contemporary, family, crime. Like, those are the tags. The Goodreads rating is 3.42 currently, with over 22,000 ratings. I see a couple of my friends have rated this book as well, giving it 4 stars. Some of them gave it 3 stars, but I think I'm right in the middle. I think it was a 3.5 star, to be honest. So now I'm on to the next book, which is The Heart Principle by Helen Huang. And this book is, I think she wrote a couple of other books, and I tried to make sure I wasn't like reading the 3rd book in a series or something. She's also written The Kiss Quotient, The Bride Test, and then obviously The Heart Principle. So I don't know too much about this other than it's a romance kind of book, and I love the cover, I love the colors, super cute, super pretty. So this book is, it says, when violinist Anna Sun accidentally achieves career success with a viral YouTube video, she finds herself incapacitated and burned out from her attempts to replicate that moment. And when her longtime boyfriend announces that he wants an open relationship before making a final commitment, a hurt and angry Anna decides if he wants an open relationship, then she does too. Translation, she's going to embark on a string of one-night stands. The more unacceptable the men, the better. That's where tattooed, motorcycle riding Quan Deep comes in. Their first attempt at a one-night stand fails, as does their second and their third, because being with Quan is more than sex. He accepts Anna on an unconditional level that she herself has just begun to understand. However, when tragedy strikes Anna's family, she takes on a role that she is ill-suited for, until the burden of expectations threatens to destroy her. Anna and Quan have to fight for their chance at love, but to do that, they also have to fight for themselves. I'm excited to get into this, especially after reading a mystery thriller and then a heavy topic book last, so this will be really fun to switch over to next. It's only 333 pages, and I do have the audio for it, so it says that it will take 9.5 hours, but I tend to read sometimes between 1.5 to 2 times speed, so I should be able to knock this out within the next day or two. So it just started, The Heart Principle, and I'm super curious about where it's going, because literally in the first chapter she is playing the violin, and you find out a little bit more about like what's going on for her as she's in this therapy session. She keeps talking about how she basically needs to like please the therapist, and like people like her better when she is making them feel good. She wants it to seem like she's making progress with the therapist so that the therapist likes her. And this is a common problem in therapy for people, is that they're so worried about making the therapist feel bad. And it's like, we get it. Not every, therapist or psychologist or whatever is going to be the right fit for you. So if something is bothering you, we would actually prefer, at least a lot of the people that I work with, we would actually prefer if you let us know that something is bothering you, because there is a therapeutic process where you work on that stuff with your therapist and you talk about like, well, what's getting in the way? Is it possibly like, is it genuinely something that the clinician actually did to you? Like, were they saying something, super off-putting or racist or whatever it might be, ableist? And is it like related to that and their fundamental beliefs, or is it like they do something that reminds you of somebody else in your life? So just a little mental health note for all of you. Oh, I found it super cute. I was just reading, and basically the main male character is like going on this another date, or talking about going on another date with the main female character, and he gives her a hug, and he's like, I'm an expert hugger. And she's like, you really are. And he goes, my brother has Asperger's, which is now autism spectrum disorder. Asperger's is not a formal diagnosis anymore, but he goes, my brother has Asperger's, and when we were little, he used to get overwhelmed from school and the bullies there. Hugging was the only thing that helped him, so I got good at it. How cute. Oh, that's adorable. Okay, so I'm like 90 pages into this book, and I love the mental health dialogue that is going on. So right now Anna is meeting with her therapist Jennifer, and she believes that Anna meets the criteria for autism spectrum disorder. And she had said, you know, I think that you're on the spectrum. Here are the things that I believe, like difficulty socializing, need for routine, repetitive motions, sensory issues, consuming interests, meltdowns. And Anna goes, I can't be autistic. I hate math. I don't have a photographic memory. I fit in. I have friends, a boyfriend. Even my mom's friends like me. I'm nothing like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory or the brother in Rain Man. And this is freaking key. The therapist responds, none of those things are diagnostic criteria. They're stereotypes and misinterpretations. I wish that people on social media would understand this, that just because somebody else is saying like, I have this issue and that issue, does not mean that you have XYZ clinical diagnosis. You have to meet the criteria. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox now. Back to reading. This one was super cute. Anna's boyfriend, I think his name's Adrian. I don't know. We didn't like him. He wanted to see if she was the one. So he said, hey, can we do an open relationship? And I'm gonna go basically F all these other girls to make sure you're the one. I mean, Anna was like, okay, I guess so. You didn't really ask me. You just told me this is what you're gonna do. So Anna ends up going on a date with Quan. And what do you know? They end up falling in love. But I think that Helen Hong did a really good job with her autism rep. It's the next day, and I have 3 books left that I want to choose from. So we have The Lies I Tell by Julie Clark. We also have The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. And we have The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. So Briana has actually decided to read my books that she chose for me with me. And I think I'm gonna read each of the descriptions and see which one sounds appealing. This one sounds the most intriguing to me, so I think this is what we're gonna go with next. So we have The Lies I Tell. It says she's back. Meg Williams, Maggie Littleton, Melody Wild, different names for the same person, depending on the town, depending on the job. She's a con artist who erases herself to become whoever you need her to be. A college student, a life coach, a real estate agent. But nothing about her is real. She slides alongside you and tells you exactly what you want to hear, and by the time she's done, you've likely lost everything. Kat Roberts has been waiting 10 years for the woman who upended her life to return, and now that she has, Kat is determined to be the one to expose her. But as the two women grow closer, Kat's long-held assumptions begin to crumble, leaving Kat to wonder who Meg's true target is. The Lies I Tell is a twisted, domestic thriller that dives deep into the psyches and motivations of two women and their unwavering quest to seek justice for the past and rewrite the future. So, this one sounds interesting. for a majority of this book, I felt like I didn't understand really what was going on, and then at the very end it came together. So for that reason, that's why I gave it a 3-star. So it was a good, obviously mystery, because it kind of keeps you on your toes of like, what is going on? And then at the end, the message I thought was really good. So I would say it's pretty good 3-star read if you're looking to read something about two women who, one of them's a con artist and the other one is a journalist, and kind of figuring out how they're connected. The Stardust Thief is, I'm not sure how to say these names. Neither here nor there, but long ago, Luli Al-Nazari is the Midnight Merchant, a criminal who, with the help of her Jinn bodyguard, hunts and sells illegal magic. When she saves the life of a cowardly prince, she draws the attention of his powerful father, the Sultan, who blackmails her into finding an ancient lamp that has the power to revive the barren land, at the cost of sacrificing all Jinn. With no choice but to obey or to be executed, Luli journeys with the Sultan's oldest son and one of his infamous 40 thieves to find the artifact. Aided by her bodyguard, who has secrets of his own, they must survive ghoul attacks, outwit a vengeful Jinn queen, and confront a malicious killer from Luli's past. In a world where story is reality and illusion is truth, Luli will discover that everything, her enemy, her magic, even her own past, is not what it seems. Now she must decide who she will become. This book so far, almost done. I'm about like 70 pages through it, and it's following these 3 main characters. You have Luli, who also goes by Layla, and she is the Midnight Merchant. We also have Mazen or Mazen. He's one of the princes, so there's a sultan and he's one of his sons, and he's also the son of a legendary storyteller named Shaifa, I think. And then we have Aisha, who is one of the High Prince's 40 thieves. So the whole story is basically, if you were to summarize this book in like one sentence, it's a fantasy world that has both human and Jinn who are at war with each other. And the Midnight Merchant and her bodyguard, who is a Jinn, are actually sent by the Sultan to go and recover this ancient relic that is hidden underneath the sand sea, and they're accompanied by the High Prince and one of his thieves. That's a long sentence. This is like a high fantasy story that is kind of like a slow paced, you're very immersed in the fantasy world. Like the first kind of story that you encounter is you find out like what is going on. So basically Luli and her bodyguard Kadir are going to go find this ancient relic lamp kind of thing that has a djinn captured in it, and whoever owns that lamp, essentially that djinn in the lamp is now like forced to, you know, it's almost like a genie, like grant any, you know, wishes that they desire. And it's not like you have to have 3 wishes, but you have to be careful, because you could say like, grant my people with a feast, and the djinn could poison everybody. The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. It says, Alaska, 1974. The Albrights are a family in crisis. They are alone, living off the grid in a harsh and unforgiving wilderness. Ernst Albright has come home from the Vietnam War, a changed and volatile man, and has made the impulsive decision to move his wife and daughter north to America's last true frontier. Cora Albright will do anything for the man she loves, even if it means following him into the unknown. 13-year-old Lenny, caught in the riptide of her parents' passionate, stormy relationship, has little choice but to go along, daring to hope this new land promises her family a better future. Even though they have found a small, independent community of strong men and even stronger women, winter is approaching, darkness is descending, and Ernst's fragile mental state is deteriorating. Soon, the perils outside pale in comparison to threats from within. In their small cabin covered in snow, blanketed in 18 hours of night, Lenny and her mother learn the terrible truth. They are on their own. In the wild, there is no one to save them but themselves. This sweeping, unforgettable portrait of human frailty and resilience spans the decades in a place of incomparable beauty and danger, where a family learns the truth about the wildness that lives in both man and nature. Okay. So as you saw this morning, I was making a tart. Again, it's not like a tart flavor. It's very sweet, actually. It's like shortbread cookie with raspberry jam and granola with sliced almonds and more shortbread crumbles like on the top. So it's a very sweet dish, but it's in a tart pan. So it's kind of just like a shortbread tart kind of thing. But it's super delicious. Sent that off with my partner. He's like playing games with his family today. And I went to go do a couple of things today. Went to Target, got some like makeup and stuff. I also went to Michael's and there was like a little sale. I have been like really wanting to crochet again, and I saw this super cute yarn. It's super soft and I just like want to make something simple. So I got a different color for a scarf, and then I got this for like a baby blanket. Don't know who I'm making it for. I just really want to make something and refresh myself with how to crochet again, because it's been probably like 4 or 5 years since I've crocheted. So I gotta dig out all my stuff, and then I also got some packages in the mail. So I kind of wanted to do like a little book haul and show you what I got. I just have 2 things. So I have book of the month and then an Amazon package. So I am going to open the Amazon package first. And obviously I know what it is, but why do they come with this? Enjoy your gift to yourself. That's funny. So it is the new Emily McIntyre book, which is crossed. And I believe this one is about the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I actually have not seen that movie in a really long time, so I don't remember what happens. But this cover is so beautiful. I have all the others in the series as well. So I'm very excited to read this one and do like a little like series reading vlog for this. Also like vibes with the hair. Yes. Okay. So that was the Amazon package. And then obviously I know what the book of the month one is, but I'll show you guys what I picked out. And it's funny because I didn't know that book of the month was housed in Hanover, Pennsylvania, which is where my partner's mother lives. I'm gonna go hit up their warehouse. So I ended up just getting one book, and I got The Stranger Upstairs because I really was drawn to the cover. Oh no, mine's damaged a little bit, but it's okay. I'll be fine. But the only reason I would like totally ask for a replacement is if it was like real messed up, but this doesn't bother me. When it goes back on the shelf, no one's gonna see that side. I just take the dust jacket off anyways while I read it. But it says, it's funny, a therapist and self-help writer with all the answers. Sarah has just bought a gorgeous Victorian in the community of her dreams. So it sounds like this follows Sarah Slade, and it's not a very thick book. It's actually only, well, that's a cute picture of the author. It's by Lisa Matlin. Never heard of her. This must be maybe a debut novel. She's a passionate mental health advocate. Good to know. Oh wow. It's there's a whole author's note. It's 268 pages, so not bad actually. And here is the bookmark, In the Throes of Prose. So I will be trying to read this month. Maybe I will take it with me to the beach. All right, back to the book. Got a little bit to go through. So I'm like listening to this book, The Great Alone, as I'm crocheting. And there's a trigger warning. So I would say definitely check the trigger warnings for DV, domestic violence. I understand that a lot of times it's hard for the woman to leave for whatever reason. There could be many reasons. But man, this dad needs therapy. Like, I was thinking earlier today how, you know, he went off to war and likely has PTSD, but this is the 70s, so they didn't know too much about it. But with the information we know today, I'm just like, a lot of times people get really depressed. while or after encountering a traumatic event, and there is some mood stuff associated with trauma, PTSD in particular. There's one sort of criteria that you have to meet that is like a mood disturbance kind of thing. And I was thinking how earlier Alaska is the worst place for someone to move that has mood issues, because you spend a lot of the year with no sun and there's a lot of isolation. So that's why it's called The Great Alone. So I kind of like how some of these books that I've picked, there's a lot of like mental health talk that I can add some commentary to. So I feel like at least I'm putting something valuable out there. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts for right now. So I have some final thoughts that I need to give on the last two books that I read, because I kind of just like stopped filming and just focused on like reading the whole time. So with The Stardust Thief, I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed the adventure. There's no romance at all. So if you're going in looking for a fantasy romance, no. This is very much like a high fantasy where you're going to have a lot of action, a lot of drama. It focuses a lot more on the fantastical elements of the story. There's no romance involved at all. Like, I don't even think there's the mention of anything. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this book, and the next book actually comes out. There's some discrepancy. Like, Goodreads says one date, and then I think Amazon says a different date. So it's either November of 2023 or February 2024. But regardless, I'm excited to see what the next book is about. I'll pop the little picture up here on the screen so that you guys can see what the cover looks like. It's beautiful, but excited to see how the story progresses, because you're kind of left on a little cliffhanger with this one, but it's not terrible. Like, you'll live. The last book to review is obviously The Great Alone. This one blew my mind. That's like the best way to say it, because it honestly just like left me speechless. I ended up rating this 5 stars because it was just so good. I don't think I've ever read a Kristen Hanna book, but she has a very popular book that I have never read, The Nightingale. I've heard a lot about it. But The Great Alone is like obviously following the Albright family, and they end up moving to Alaska for a period of time. And this is a book, as I've mentioned before, that you do need to check your trigger warnings, because if you are sensitive to domestic violence, there is a lot that goes on in this book. But a lot of the choices that the mom and the daughter make throughout the book, and just like the story, like I was just like flabbergasted, I guess, like how gripped my heart was reading this book. Like, I don't know if I've ever had a book grip me like this, but it was so good. And I like I kind of find this funny that I don't normally gravitate towards historical fiction books, but then when I actually read historical fiction books, I'm like, I might be a historical fiction girly. Like, phenomenal. Kristen Hanna, I'm gonna keep reading your books. I have a lot of your other books. So I am so glad that I picked this book for Briana to read with me, and I'm glad I read it with her, because it was just fantastic. Like, the writing was beautiful, the plot was beautiful, the emotions that this book pulled out, I feel like I can't speak enough. So I would say, if you are not a historical fiction person, this may not be the book for you. While it's a fantastic book, I can see if you're not a historical fiction girly or fan, this ain't the book for you. But if you do like historical fiction, give this one a shot, please, because it's great. It is a big book. It's like 550 pages or so, but it's phenomenal. That's all I'll say about it. Thank you guys for watching my video today. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you're not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to go over to Briana's channel. I'll have her information linked down in my description box below, and show her some love too. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.